Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to an absolute legendary event. Welcome to an event that everyone is clamoring to be at. Welcome to the RaceFace.Pro SRO SimGrid Community World Challenge Qualifier Round 2. And we're about to go absolutely ham here tonight, as this is the second round on a 4-leg race. And this time, we're at the lovely old Silverstone. We're going down and having a bit of fun out in the UK. Glad to have you guys here, and welcome to Silverstone. A little bit warmer this time around, and a lot of drivers a little bit more comfortable with the track, knowing it a bit better as it's been in the sim for quite some time. A legendary circuit that has become the home of champions, and even of recent, getting a Sir Hamilton straight for those that are into more modern day Formula 1. But that being said, welcome. Keep an eye on a couple of corners though, and that is going to be Maggots and Beckett's and Cops. Those are the main worries for a lot of our drivers, guys battling to get the grip to work with them on the way through. And let's see who will be able to claim the victory. Now, for anyone that is just joining us, is not quite sure what on earth this is all about, well, this is the SRO Esports SimGrid Community World Challenge Qualifiers. So multiple of these qualifiers are being run across the world, where communities were handpicked by SimGrid to run the different events. Looking forward to having a bit of fun and making sure that they stand on top. Now, let's take you back to what happened last week, as Adam Stronetsky ran away with the race, got into first place, and was pretty much done and dusted, running a second faster than the rest of the field. Second place went to Henry Mayer, who fought as hard as he could to get onto the top of the charts, and then Bernard Barkhuizen taking third place. Fleming Bauer taking fourth. Was battling it out with Bego Krubler. Brandon Kruger also joining in. Andre Serradio getting ahead of his teammate Mahath Musa. Werner Skuman finishing in 9th and 10th place, going to Ryan Barrington-Smith. That being said though, I'm sure you're sick and tired of looking at this. Why don't we go and take a look at what's happening, because we got qualifying underway here at Silverstone. As we head down to the circuit and look forward to the fun, we got Tim on the cameras, Jim on the mics, to give us all the insight, and we got the roaring engines as our drivers make their way through, starting to get up a bit of heat into the tires and brakes to get themselves going. That being said, let's run through who is here, because it's always fun to do that. Starting off with Henry Mayer in the Martin Racing, utilizing Martin the Martian on his color scheme. Always love to see it. Hansi Myberg of RaceFace sporting the Twin Saver now, going and brightening up everything in his life. Jason Farmer lying in third place for Griffin Sim Racing. You got Donovan Dunn heading out onto the track of Brand Cycle Motorsports. Good to see Donovan going and battling it out. Also want to keep a very close eye on. Very quick driver. Fleming Bauer a little bit further down in 5th place, and then we got Barry Lubber running in 6th. He's waiting in the pits. Henry Plott in 7th. Brandon Kruger a little bit further down for Bleed Green. And is looking to bleed a lot of green here tonight, as they look to stand on top of the chart. Ruan Heineke in 9th. 10th place, Kerry Van Zale. Mordrake Larson's running in 11th position. And then we have got Ruan Siliers, Bego Krubler, Werner Skuman fighting it out in the Mustang. And then we've got Sparish Yuri in the Lamborghini, coming all the way out, sporting a bit of India in that mix. Michael Pedersen, Ruan van der Veld, being ready to go. Bernard Barkhuizen. And then we got Fars Tar in the AF Corsa machine. Rob van der Heerden for the Griffin Sim Racing AF Corsa. Elwin Prim going to be having a bit of fun out there. Ludwig Zittman of Ebb and Flow. Always enjoying to see a bit of Ebb and Flow and a bit of the relaxing Audi colours. Reginald Mattolini going to have a bit of fun out there. Old Reg, a fellow commentator, a streamer, a fun guy to chat to, but also highly determined that he's going to get this McLaren to the top. No matter what, it must score a podium. Paul the Wall Fenter of Eleanor Drivers of Chaos. He's saying that the team is completely stable, but the drivers are completely unstable, and he's leading the pack of the Eleanor team. Jaco Kutzer of the Team Tryhard Bandits. Andre Seradio weighing in the pits. Ryan Barrington-Smith from Logistical Nightmare Racing. Mahath Musa from Project Vapor. He's also got a big smile on his face after recent events in iRacing. Out here in RaceFace.Pro. Gavin Scotton, our Team Tryout Racing. William Wentworth. Wild William Wentworth. For many people that didn't actually know the nickname, Wild William Wentworth was around in motorsport for a long time, well, in the world of sim racing, for his antics in his early times of missing brake markers and getting a little bit wild in his passes. Got some to work, others not so much. Christian Zetzman down in 31st position, and then we've got Ira Maduaya, who is actually one of the newer drivers coming in and having a bit of fun. Here's the CEO of Dwyer.com. That being said, drivers starting to put a time on the board. Henry Mayer with a 157.5. Fleming Bauer finishing up with a 157.9. Gets beaten out. Bernard Barkhuizen goes to stacks it all the way to the top of the charts with a 157.3 as he looks to stand above it all. Henry Mayer will be content with second place at the moment. Fleming Bauer in third place. Kerry van Zyl of the Pandacity team putting himself into fourth place. Hunter Byberg in fifth. Jaco Kutzer currently running in sixth place. Ruben Heineke gets time on the board, a 159.6. Alan Prim a 2-minute 01, but he gets beaten out as more and more time starts coming down and everyone's starting to move their way through. We're going to expect the 157s as the top mark for the board. One or two drivers may get into that 156 at a push, but you've got to be careful of those track limits, especially at the top. So drivers are going to have to be very, very mindful on their way through of who's going to be able to claw their way to victory here. Bernard Barkhuizen hope he's snatched away. Bego Krobler, Johan Bego Krobler of Hybrid Racing, looking to stand on the top of the charts, running in third place. Fleming Bauer, Ryan Barrington-Smith, Kerry van Zyl, unfortunately getting it all kicked out wrong, goes towards the wall, so he's going to have to back out of that one. Werner Skuman in the Mustang, roaring by. Hansi Myberg giving a bit of room as he allows our team to get past. Jaco Kutzer trying to keep it consistent. Mahath Musa, Faz Tar, Ruben Heineke, all getting into those 59s. A couple of times need to be out on the board. Barry Lubber, Henry Platt, Spurry Shuri, Ludwig Zetzman, Paul Fenter, Andre Seradio, William Wentworth, Christian Zetzman, and Aria is still needing to get a time on the board from 23rd all the way through. But times are starting to get a bit faster. Henry Mayer being one of them. He has 0.3 quicker in the last sector. He immediately gets beaten up by Bernard Barkhuizen. They are fighting it out to and fro between times. 0.1 of a second separating them as we see Henry Mayer taking top of the charts with a 157.2. Bernard Barkhuizen in second place. Could not improve this time around. He's going to have to try his luck. See if he can gain a little bit more time underneath him. But Henry Mayer, currently top of the charts, 0.4 of a second on his last lap time, is actually Bego Krobler. He utilized a toe to pull himself a little bit further along. And Hunter Myberg saying, oh, I'll give you the toe, buddy, but you got to give me something in return. That's also a toe to try and climb up through the charts. So, Henry Mayer top, Bernard Barkhuizen in second as they make their way through. But to everyone just joining us, a big, big monster of a welcome to you all. Glad to have you guys here, and welcome to the RaceFace.Pro SRO SimGrid Community Challenge. It's going to be a wild, wild one, ladies and gentlemen, as we see already the lap times. Henry Mayer and Bernard Barkhuizen separated by 0.01 of a second in qualifying. That is nothing between these two absolute giants. What we're not seeing here is our previous winner, who unfortunately is going to be missing out this round and not going to be too keen on that. He was the second faster in the field at Misano, but this time round you got to be in it to win it, and considering you got only 4 rounds to play with, it's not ideal to miss out a single round. That is going to play into the favor of Bernard Barkhuizen, Henry Mayer, Bego Krobler, Fleming Bauer, Mordred Claessens. The list goes on and on and on, because everyone has a chance to get to the top and be part of the 2 drivers that will represent South Africa in this championship and go towards the SRO Esports Community World Championship, powered by SimGrid. And also just an absolute great stuff to have our current sponsors on board joining us. But take a look at the lap time. Bernard Barkhuizen puts himself at the top of the charts with a 1:57.1. So close. Second place, 0.04 of a second. And then you got Fleming Bauer in third place. Bego Krobler trying to gain a little bit of time. He is currently lying in fourth place. He's not up on his last lap time. Kerry van Zyl, though, is up on his last lap time by 0.1. So is Ryan Barrington-Smith on his way through. Both are up 0.1. Mahath Musa up 0.9 of a second on his last lap time. So he is properly hammering it to try and get into that top 10 here at Silverstone. A track that favors some and others a little bit less. And that has always been a difficult charge for a lot of drivers. I know my personal take on Silverstone is it is actually quite a bit of fun, but it is a momentum circuit. You've got to keep your head in the game. You've got to try and force yourself to get to the end of the line without any problems. Otherwise, you're going to land up in a world of hurt. So tire degradation is going to be one to watch out for. Considering they've got 2 stops to play with here, that's where it leans in. Get your stop done early or late. And Paul Fenter absolutely bottling his lap. He was up 0.2 of a second. He bottled it on the way through. And not going to be quite happy with that one. Losing out that little bit of time. And trying to figure out how he can gain a little bit more. Keep an eye on the rest of the field. And who will be able to claw their way to victory. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope you're ready. And I hope you are excited just as much as I am for this race, because it is going to open up the championship points, and we will have a different car finishing up in first place, guaranteed at this point. So keep an eye out for that, because that is going to be a 3-way fight by the looks of it. Bernard Barkhuizen, Henry Mayer and Bauer. Bego Krobler may be able to throw his hat into the ring. Werner Skuman, don't count him out. He's also in the 57s. So right from 1st to 7th are currently into the 157 mark, with both Mordred Klaassen and Mahath Musa actually getting very close in lap times. Their best lap times was actually matching Mordred Klaassen's at a 1:57.970. Mahath Musa, who we see on screen currently, a 1:57.970. So he has tied it up with this very Porsche, who is currently going and running the pink Rexy on the way through. So it's going to be a very tight battle through and through, and can't wait to see how it all goes. Yellow flags being waved as drivers are opting to get back to the pits as time's running out. 4 minutes left of this qualifying session to make it or break it. Kerry van Zyl currently up on his lap time. Andre Serradio currently up on his lap time. And so is Jason Farmer, but he's just out of that top 10, lying in 12th position, trying to gain a little bit of time, sporting a new different set of colors in the Griffin Sim Racing attire, the GSR. What was previously known as LTR. They have unfortunately retired that name and gone and embraced a new set of names, getting a refresh, and the team feeling very positive, hoping to be like the Griffin and claw their way to victory. Andre Serradio puts himself up into 6th place. Project Vapor going to be smiling at that one. Great lap time in the BMW, but just out of that top 5. Only able to get a 1:57.87, as we do see one of our drivers parked off on, that is Are Medwa, who has moved himself off in the Ferrari. Werner Skuman in the Mustang, screaming his way down, trying to improve his lap time. Jaco Kutzer in the McLaren, currently 0.2 up on his previous lap time, so he is really starting to wring the neck of it, trying to get a bit closer towards that top 10. 0.1 second up, and then Jason Farmer currently 0.1 of a second up, loses that out. Rowan Saliers currently 0.2 of a second up, losing out a little bit of time. McLaren arguing, keeping a very tight line. That's not going to work in his favor. He needs to open the steering up a little bit more, but trying to just improve, maybe exit on the exits to get his way. So drivers hoping that they can gain a bit of time. We may see a lead change though. That will be Henry Mayer. Remember, he's only 0.04 of a second off the likes of Bernard Barkhuizen. At the moment, he's 0.1 up on the entire field. So if he can carry this momentum, he will be able to get first place and put Bernard Barkhuizen on the disadvantage heading into turn 1 come the start of the race. which is going to be absolutely crucial around Silverstone. Not an easy circuit to get passes done, a lot of follow the leader, but if you can start ahead of your competition, you can make them work their tires a lot harder than planned. Getting matched out by Bernard Barkhuizen, though, who is coming back with a fight, the Ominous Gaming KSR, hoping that they can keep at the top of the charts and show what they can do in the world of esports. A lot of pressure is being put onto the drivers to say, listen, you got to get yourselves up there, you got to switch it up, and got to refresh your times, especially with those AOC monitors. How's that going, including all the branding there? You can thank me later, Loic Randabel, who is the team captain for the sim racing team of the Ominous Gaming. Henry Mayer currently 0.1 up on his last lap time, trying to improve, trying to dig deep and get going as fast as possible. Drivers looking for any advantages, what they can do to try and gain that little bit of time. Is it going to be a bit more of try get things a little bit more towards the top? Well, only time will tell. Henry Mayer, though, goes and matches out, puts himself into first place, and scores that little pass done and dusted with a 57.010. So, with that being said, I know our sponsors are having a great bit of a time there. We had a chat with Red Star Raceway, Scallywags, all saying they're super excited to see how this GT3 race is going to turn out, especially here at Silverstone. SA Lube is just excited to see the talent rising to the top. So is Ondorf Machinery Mart, hoping that they can witness the legends being made here tonight. And by the end of the championship, we're going to witness two drivers that will go on to take the world go into the world championship. And I can confidently say from South Africa, and yes, I'm being a bit biased here, will win it. I mean, we won the Rugby World Cup. We're doing well with the cricket. We will forget about some certain aspects, but we've done well so far. I think we're going to carry some good momentum and show the rest of the world what we are made of. Bego Krobler, though, unable to improve. He will be staying in third place unless he gets beaten out. Henry Mayer going to be finishing up in first place at the moment. Bernard Barkhuizen trying to come back at it and improve his last lap time. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it, though. He's trying. He's fishing for his lap times. 0.1. He's flirting with it. Absolutely on the edge to try and improve. A 1:57.1 is his best lap time. Can he dig it deep to try and get a 57.009? That's all he needs to do, is really just pip it right at the end. Which is so hard. Scrubbing off a lot of pace and trying to dig deep here is not an easy time, as Bernard Barkhuizen keeps it absolutely pinned. Is it going to be enough when he comes across the line? Oh, second place. That's all she wrote, unfortunately, as our drivers take their way back. So, let's head back, and we will be getting ready to rock and roll here at Silverstone. It's going to be an exciting time. And I gotta say, I'm thoroughly looking forward to seeing what the action is going to be out on track. Who's going to be able to claw their way to victory on the charge through, because it's not going to be an easy one. Drivers are going to have to dig deep on this. They're going to have to think strategy-wise. Tire degradation is going to be high because the track temperature is currently 23 degrees. We're expecting it to drop by roughly 2 degrees. So it may go down, but that doesn't go and chuck away the fact that this track is built to destroy tires, especially with the GT3. So drivers are going to have to really start feathering their throttle through, think it out, try and figure out what's going to work for them, how they're going to gain that little bit more time and carry it all the way through. 2 stops in the race that they're going to have to deal with it. You can either get your first stop done early, then move on to more of a mid-race stop, or are you going to try go that little bit longer in the race? As we saw previously at Misano, it can be a double-edged blade. So let's get back to the track, though, and go through our grid. So, for the RaceFace.Pro SRO SimGrid Community World Challenge, we got Henry Mayer out in first place, Bernard Barkhuizen, Bego Krobler, Fleming Bauer, Werner Skuman, Andre Seradio, Mordred Claessens, Mahiath Musa lying in 8th, 9th, Kerry van Zale, followed by Ryan Barrington Smith, Paul Fenter, Jason Farmer, Jaco Kutzer, Ruan Heineke, Hansi Myberg, Ruan van der Walt, Henry Platt, Fars Tar, Ruan Siliers, Gavin Scruton, along with Christian Zetzman, Reginald Mertolini, Old Reggie, Donovan Dunn, I do apologize. Going to be having a bit of fun out there in 23rd. 24th, Rob van der Heever, Ludwig Zetzman, Elwin Prim, Michael Pedersen, Barry Lubber, Ari Midwai, Spirish, Yuri, William Wentworth, and Terence Ferreira rounding out our field. 32 cars starting here tonight. Mustangs starting at the back. But all eyes will be going to the front on Henry Mayer, who will be leading out the charge, lined up with Bernard Barkhuizen right next to him, and that's not going to be an easy fate. Our driver's going to have to really dig deep on this one, going to figure out what's going to be their advantage, who's going to claw their way to victory, what's going to be needed at this current time to stay at the top of the charts. We will be having a new leader to the championship come the end of this race. Question is, who is it going to be that's going to be able to stand on that top spot? Because at the moment, Henry Mayer is in second place. Bernard Barkhuizen is in third place. Fleming Bauer, who's running fourth place in the championship, is fourth on the grid. This is going to be an absolute monster fight. It's going to be a slugfest, I can fully believe. And a couple of cars will be starting on the corner, so they're going to have to be getting themselves ready to rock and roll and fly out of the gate. Not going to be an easy one. Henry Mayer starting to roll. Bernard Barkhuizen lining up on the side. Will be side by side. Short formation laps, so not a lot of time to get some heat into those brakes and into those tires. So you got to ensure you got to brake drag as much as possible. 70 kilometers an hour, no faster, no less. Ensure you stay in your grid position. You can look left, you can look right. Try and figure out where you're going to feed, because turn one is going to get very tight as we go green, green, green. Ryan Barrington-Smith ready with a drive-through. Henry Mayer out in first place. Bernard Barkhuizen dropping down into second place. Gets immediately onto the tail. Beggar Hrubler having a monstrous start and gets himself going. Fleming Bauer under pressure. He's trying to defend, as we see Andre Serradio trying to go around the outside. He is getting a little bit of a push from the likes of that would have been Mordred Claessens, but Ryan Barrington-Smith in the top 10, unfortunately not having a good one. Andre Serradio having a slight little bit of contact with Werner Skuman, who gets immediately right onto the back of him. He's getting chased down by Mordred Claessens, all shuffling full position, trying to figure out where they're going to go. And it is going to be Werner Skuman around the outside. Is he going to be able to do it, though? Not able to get the undercut just as he had trying his luck, as Serradio going and really forcing out wide. Will go on the defense, force him on the outside. Does open up a gap. He immediately has his partner in crime, Mahath Musa, onto the back of him. So we do have a bit of a teammate fight coming into the fray thing. But Andre Serradio opening up the gap to Werner Skuman and Mahath Musa and Mordred Claessens. But out in front, Henry Mayer taking the charge away from Bernard Barkhuizen. Not going to be an easy run there. Bernard has been really sticking it in to get going and try and make his way through. Antonio Gamble going and saying, go, 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 on the cheer out in the virtual grandstands. Good to have you here and good to see some comments, guys. It's always fantastic to see all the people getting absolutely excited with the racing. So am I on the way through. But so much to tell on the early days of the fighting. But everyone's starting to open up the gap now, trying to get themselves going. Bernard Barkhuizen immediately putting pressure on Henry Mayer as they break away from the field. So as it stands, Henry Mayer, Bernard Barkhuizen, Beggar Hrubler, Fleming Bauer, and then Andre Serradio, Werner Skuman, Mahath Musa, along with Mordred Claessens in 8th place. 9th is Kerry van Zale, 10th place, going to Paul Fenter at the moment, who is trying to keep it all together. As he said, he's not going to back down from any fight here at Silverstone. This is his track, and he's coming to play. Gavin Scroton having a bit of a battle with Ruan Siliers, who are bumping and barging both in the McLarens. Not going to be an easy time for the two of them as they try and make their way through. Ryan Barrington-Smith pulling into the pits. He's going to be serving his drive-through penalty after going and speeding on the way through, and it's not going to be playing into his favor. So a bit of support coming in for Jason Farmer, who is going to be having a bit of fun out. But two cars have pulled into the pits, Ryan Barrington-Smith and Rob van der Heever pulling into the pits, so they're getting themselves done and dusted early on. Well, except for Ryan Barrington-Smith, he's serving a drive-through. But Rob van der Heever with an early pit stop, that's going to change things up a little bit. Why did the 51 pit so early? Was there any damage to the car? No damage to the car. So he's just trying to get that first pit stop out of the way and get going once again. that little fight that is still raging on. Mahaith Musa keeping on to the back of Werner Skuman. It is Mustang versus BMW, and it does look like the Mustang has got the legs down the straights. He's able to open up a distance, but under braking, he immediately has a problem as Mahaith Musa tries to lay back onto the pressure with him, trying to figure out what's going to be the advantage on the way through. Werner Skuman having to look in his mirrors left and right, figure out how can he figure to go and race as hard as he can. Francois Buerta, also one of the drivers that we usually see out on the circuit. This time he is supporting a couple of his friends, saying, go guys, go. We want to see this fight all the way through. And we do see yellow flags for the 118 car. Let's go and take a look. This is the Kerry Funzel car. What on earth happened to Kerry Funzel that they brought out yellow flags for him? Did he fall off a track? Did he blip in and out of existence? Looked like he just blipped out in and out of existence. Fair enough. All right, but we do have an accident for the 447 car. So let's try and see what happened to the 447 and 9. That seems to have repeated bits of contact. Was it also a disconnect? That is Team Tryhard of Gavin Schurten, who's having Ruan Saliers immediately behind him. Ruan looking for the inside line. Tries to go for it. Oh, looked like a bit of carnage. One car slowed down, the others all came piling through, and it was a knock-on effect right the way through. Zetzman coming into the pits, he's got a bit of damage to that sharp end of his nose. Ruan van der Walt, who was part of that contact, has got Henry Plitt next to him, who was also part of the contact. And Ruan Saliers immediately also right onto the back of him. So these two battling it out. Henry Plitt, who is able to get going once again, going side by side with Van der Walt, who's going to go around the outside. Van der Walt going to put as much pressure as possible. Ruan Saliers immediately puts his nose in, bump drafts to try and force Plitt to go a little bit more. And Hansi Maiberg tried to like for a pass. He's now fighting out against Donovan Dunnan, who is not backing down. So Donovan, though, is going to go side by side, gets past down the Porsche, a lot more nimble around the outside, a lot more comfortable, and gets going. So a bit of an awesome battle towards the back end of the field. As Henry Plitt in the number 9, who was part of the earlier contact, now trying to keep Ruan Saliers behind. Ruan van der Walt, though, is going to be putting a huge amount of pressure. He goes out wide. That is going to kill off the drive. And Donovan says, thank you very much. Gets a pass done and runs away. So van der Walt, unfortunately, dropping down the order there. Then he's going to have to deal with Reginald Mutaleni. Reginald keeping it nice and consistent. He sees that Hansi Maiberg has, unfortunately, lost out a little bit of drive. He tries to bring it back. Van der Walt stuck on the outside. Immediately has to try and understeer his way out of it and has Reginald Mutaleni all over the back of him. Reg is going to try and force a mistake and keep it going all the way through. And let's see, number 51 got suspension damage on the start. So we now found out what happened to the number 51 car. And that was for Rob van der Heever. So big shout out to Ulrich de Jager going and letting us know there. So shout out to Ulrich de Jager down in the pit lane. And also supporting the Go Griffins sim racing boys. So always glad to have that bit of feed coming in from the pit lane of guys saying, hey, listen, this is what's happening. This is what the story is. This is the story is currently developing in the pit lane. We get to hear from our grandstands. We also get to hear from our virtual pit lane as well. And this is why you always say thank you, please and thank yous to the spectators. Don't know when it's going to come back to help you. Nico Killerman also going in and putting in a bit of support. But Donovan Dunnan on a epic charge. Van der Walt, though, gets a drive that is absolutely terrible, that even the Queen is shaking her head. And Reginald Mutaleni is going to say, the Queen is gone, the King is here, and I am here to stay, as he gets a drive. Really trying to show what the McLaren can do, showing a bit of British power on the way through, sliding the car a little bit. And those rears starting to absolutely hate him at this point as he's stuck behind Van der Walt. That is costing him time, and that allows Ludwig Zetzman of Ebb and Flow to come into the race along with Hansi Maiberg. A little bit further down, though, we got a bit of a battle. Terence Ferreira going and battling it out with Faz Tar, who goes side by side. Faz with a bit of damage to the sharp end of the nose, side by side with likes of Ferreira. They are going to keep hammering it along. Terence Ferreira coming from, well, Chingo's going back in the world of the Assetto Corsa Competizione. He actually participated in the 80K Pro Series at one point. He's been in Monday Night Racing for countless, who knows how long. And he's been having a bit of fun out there. Also had a slight retirement out of sim racing, but returning. We got Christian Zitzman though. He's got drive-through penalty. Unfortunately, that is going to be for track limits exceeded. And once again, track limits will come into play, and with mandatory pit stops on there, that's going to hurt. And considering he's already had a trip through the pits, unfortunately, it didn't count either. So frustration reigns king over him. Harry Funzel and the likes of Paul Fenter going at one another. They're going to push as hard as they can to battle it out. So time's starting to tick over, and drivers starting to make considerations here. With the first of our pit stops, unfortunately, was Ryan Barrington-Smith with a drive-through penalty for speeding at the start of the race. That only got impacted worse as Rob van der Heever went into the pits, and he needed to get some work done on his front suspension. That did not count for any work onto his car. Bit of contact though, Sporish Uri and Michael Peterson unfortunately came to blows with one another. Number 98 and 999 going and having a bit of a problem. So let's take a look at what happened to Michael Peterson and Sporish Uri. As we take a look at Michael Peterson in the Mustang, tries to look for the inside line. Maggots, Beckett's carries the momentum through, and oh, a little bit of rearward contact there. Both cars going and sporting a fair amount of damage to them prior to that accident, and both venturing out wide. Jingos, my heavens, guys. You're going wider and wider out on circuit. You could swear that you're going to visit the countryside. But talking about visiting the countryside, we've got Werner Skuman visiting the countryside with Mayath Musa going and chasing him down. Pit window is now open, so any pits that you need to do it now, because anything that you did prior did not count. When this pit window closes, doesn't count. So you got to get it done in the pit window, which is only 59 minutes. Now, for anyone that thinks 59 minutes, oh man, there's plenty of time to go and do what you need to do. Well, when you're in a battle like what we have here with Werner Skuman and Mahaith Musa, where it's 0.3 of a second, and you are going blow for blow with one another, well, 59 minutes is just not long enough. Richard Italeni, though, going and bottoming out his car on the way through. That's killed his driver. Ludwig Zittmann going and having a bit of a tough time. The Audi not getting the rotation, bouncing around. Very, very soft-suspension on that car. Compared to Hansi Myberg, who's got the drive immediately, snaps into the toe. Reginald Mutuleni, though, in a world of hurt, is now trying to keep it out and keep going as Zitzman has got the drive. Dives up on the inside, battling his way through, counter steering like there is no tomorrow. Reginald stuck on the outside, all four wheels off though, and now has to try and run it through the curbs. Brings himself back over the ebb and flow nose of the Audi. And Ludwig Zitzman looking a little bit more put together there. Hansi Myberg, though, will get the much better drive as he's not having to go and mid-corner brake compared to Zitzman. He's going to keep the pressure on. Tries to look for a pass, comes off the throttle instead of braking. Very interesting tactic going there. Instead of hitting the brakes, he's actually lifting off the throttle, allowing the guys to go. Back up to the sharp end of the field, though. Henry May and Bernard Barkes having a good go at one. None of these two have broken away from field. 2.1 seconds away from Bego Krobler, but are going to continue pushing themselves that little bit more as we see yellow flags for the number 29. They're unfortunately running into a bit of an issue, and this is Ari Midwai going and having, may have been contact with Fars Tar. So Tar in the red Ferrari, and there we got Arai going and battling it out. Oh, that's some serious contact in the rear. Unfortunately, throws that little Ferrari way out of the order. Interesting pit stops coming into play. Jason Farmer and Ruin Heidecker, who dived into the pits. That promotes Like Van der Walt further up the order. Let's see where they're going to come out, because that's going to provide a very interesting situation as the drivers will be able to work out what's going to work, see how close they get to the top. Yellow flags for the number 98, though. That is Michael Peterson in the Mustang. Unfortunately, not having his great run. Did he get a bit of snap oversteer on the back of that Mustang? Threw him around, goes off circuit, tries to bring it back. Oh, my heavens. Ventures all over. Man thought he was a Ford Cosworth. Unfortunately, got the same wall as a Ford Cosworth. Battle out on circuit though. Closest one within the top 10. Mahath Musa and Werner Skuman going nose tail at one another. Werner Skuman going and defending like his life depends on it. The Mustang GT3 very, very good in terms of getting in and out of those corners compared to the BMW, but the BMW a lot more stable, as Werner Skuman doesn't seem to be too confident on the throttle. As soon as he gets on the power, the rear steps out underneath him, but that does allow Mahath Musa to close up on him. In turn, Mahath just not getting the legs into the corner to gain the advantage. And that is allowing Mordred Clausen to get onto the back of him. So as time starts to tick over, we will be keeping an eye on the pit stops and seeing who's going to be able to make that climb, because a lot of our leaders will be taking a look at this. Let's take a look at what the pit stops mean for everyone out there. Example, Ryan Barrington-Smith is a good one. He was a drive-through, in and out. It took him 24.7 seconds to get going and get himself back out there. Jason Farmer, though, who has done a complete pit stop, did 28 seconds with splash and dash. So he's done splash and dash, so has Ruud Heidegger. So those two have done splash and dashes, no tire changes. They leaving until last, which is ideal. Rather go on the same set of tires, you got to push yourself out a little bit more, gain a bit more time, try and figure out what's going to work for you, how you're going to gain that little bit more of an advantage. Mahath Musa trying to force his way through. At the moment, he is running 8th in the championship. Werner Skuman, though, is running 9th in the championship, because this little fight will go and bolster both in their fight for the championship. And considering it's only 1 point difference between the two of them, there is a lot of skin in the game here that they're going to have to deal with. But that is helping Andre Serradio pull away, and it's helping Mordred Clausen get closer. So, this is going to provide a little bit more of a fight as time goes on. Lots to think about. Yellow flags did get waved for our number 7 and 29 car, who landed up having blow for blow. This is as far as Tyre. This, I think, was our earlier incident. Yes, it was. This is just another view from it. As we go on board, we could see completely missing his brake marker and causing that impact. So that was the earlier contact and damage that went through him out of the order. Mahath Musa staring at the back of that Mustang, saying it's pretty, but kind of want to see the front headlights instead of the rear tail lights. Hansi Meiberg all over the back of Reginald Mutaledi. Reginald knowing how to defend against Hansi Meiberg. He knows all the tactics, knows the game, and knows where Hansi Meiberg is a little bit more relaxed than most drivers, so he can get a little bit elbows out. And I think he's going to focus on keeping his eyes completely forward on him. And then we've got Terence Ferreira and Ludwig Zitzman having a good punch up with one another. They are absolutely hammer and tongs fighting it out. But Reginald Mutaledi, though, loses out the drive, loses out the corner, and loses out the position to Hansi Meiberg. He's trying to fight back, but just not working out. Let's go back 30 seconds. Let's witness this in a bit of a replay to see the pass done and dusted. Hansi Meiberg has got the drive. Reginald slows down a little bit too much. Yep, way too much on the exit. Now into Maggots Beckett, goes and fouled him up properly as Hansi puts himself in the prime position to lock out that apex and force Reginald out wide. Yes, understeer would also come into play and throw him in the mix. So the two of them having a great bit of fun. But Hansi Meiberg, a little bit of a wicked exit, now needs to try and carry his way through. So, last lap time of the race set by Henry Mayer with a 157.7. We saw that he was able to get into the very, very low 157. Side-by-side battle, Ludwig Zitzman and Donovan Dunin now going side by side. Donovan stuck on the outside, manages to get the drive. Ludwig Zitzman, though, will have to go and back out of that fight. That allows Elvin Prim to get a little bit closer in the Ferrari. Good to see a little bit further down towards the back of the guys having a good race. Oh, Ruan Saliers getting a bit of contact from Van der Walt, giving him a slight bit of a bump in the rear. So Ruan Soliers, who has just moved over to a direct drive wheel, unfortunately got his first taste of what a direct drive bike may be. And now Hansi Myberg is going to immediately keep the pressure onto the back of him. He's going to try and look left, look right, dives back in, second guesses any chances of getting by. He's going to rather keep it all together, lay down the pressure, and wait for the mistakes to creep in. Reginald Mutaleni, though, who has lost out a bit of time, now starting to run into a bit of an issue as he has got the back markers starting to claw over the back of him and saying, right, buddy, you got to get going. You got to try and gain a bit of time here. You're costing us a bit of time in your own race. So Reg is going to have to dig deep here as Mark is busy saying, Reggie, let's go! And trying to cheer on from the sidelines. I can actually see he's got a big sign that says Go Reg out into the grandstands here close to our commentary booth. It's always glad to see that. Nice to see guys coming up with some very, very creative signs to point it out. Another one saying Reggie needs to find fourth gear. So that's also quite a sign to add. Sorry, Reg, giving you gears up there. Much like you need to use them out on the circuit because you're losing a bit of time there as you run out of a bit of road as we see Van der Walt and Soliers going blow for blow at one another. Soliers, Rustic Racing, going after Van der Walt. These two have not done too much battle out of the circuit with one another. That has allowed Hansi Myberg to get into the fray of things. Another little Battlestone form a little bit further down. Ludwig Zetzman, Owen Prim, and Donovan Dunan as he's lost out the run to the likes of the Ferrari. He's going to go side by side on the braking. No, it's going to be very close. Going to have to go and back out of that one. Very, very close between Dunan and Prim. I got to say, both, I tip my hat to you. That was great. But William Wentworth saying, hold on. Hold my chocolate milkshake. Watch this. Dives up on the inside. He gets a pass done and dusted. Sinks it in beautifully like he's playing some pool. It is down into the hole and he didn't have to sink his main ball. Didn't sink that number 8 into it. So, Ruan Soliers dealing with Hansi Myberg as they charge their way around the circuit. Time's starting to tick out, and we out of that hour mark as so far 20 minutes of the race has been completed, and Henry Mayer is out on top, 1.8 seconds, heading 2 seconds, ahead of Bernard Barkhuizen. Beggar Probler running in third, Fleming Bauer in fourth, fifth place, Andre Serradio, followed by Werner Skuman. Mahaith Musa, hot on the heels, still pushing that forward to eventually break its rear tires. It's trying to force the stallion to slow down and say, instead of doing road running, rather take up dressage. Let's see if anyone catches that one. So Werner Skuman saying, nope, I'm not going to take over dressage. I'm going to carry on my show jumping and jump right away from the BMW. Mordre Claessen's gaining a little bit of time. T-Rex with little arms, but it's got big legs and it's going to try and chase him down. Kerry van Zyl running in at 10th place as he gets overtaken by Paul Fenter and goes side by side. Paul saying, thank you very much, buddy. Watch this little bit of chaos as I'm going to lay in the shenanigans. Runs out a bit wide, gets on the power, pulls Kerry van Zyl along a little bit more. Van Zyl keeping close into the toe. These two know each other so well over the course of sim racing, and both have been friends and foes out on the track. Now having to battle it into that top 10 position. 9th and 10th. Going to be a good run between them. Ruan Soliers gaining a bit of time. Van der Walt, though, getting a compromised drive, has immediately got Hansi Myberg onto the back of him. So the number 100, unfortunately, running into a bit of a problem. And now that has opened him up for a world of hurt as Hansi Myberg leans on him. Reginald Mutaleni going to keep right in the toe as well. Looking possibly to make it 3 wide. Second guesses it. Maggins and Beckett's is never a good idea to make it 3 wide. Reginald thinks better of his pass there. Decides, I'm going to rather stick behind. Going to let Hansi do the work. Compromises his drive. Oh, Reginald off into the dirt. Trying to avoid. He comes across. Oh, boy. If you want to see a brake pedal go to the floor, well, that was essentially it. Ryan Barrington-Smith into the pits, and so is Tyre into the pits. So we got 2 more cars getting their pit stops done and dusted. But Ruan van der Walt and Hansi Meiberg saw their live flash before their eyes right at that point, as Reginald Mutileni had to really get a bit of caution into it. So as our running order goes, drivers getting themselves with those pit stops, trying to organize themselves. Henry Mayer up in first place, trying to break away from Bernard Barkhuizen in second. Bago Krubler running in third place, hoping that he can carry on the drive at this point. Fleming Bauer in fourth, Andres Radio in fifth. Sixth place is Werner Skuman, Mahaith Musa, Mordrake Larsens, Paul Venter, Harry van Zale, Jaco Kutzer, Henry Platt, Ruan Cilliers, Ruan van der Walt, along with Hansi Meiberg and Reginald Mutileni, still keeping the pressure on. This is our closest battle currently out on track, and Reginald not breaking away from that fight. He is starting to lose the drive though. That's allowing Terence Ferreira to get a bit closer, so Terence is going to also get into the fray there. Don't count him out. Wild William Wentworth in 18th position, 19th Alwyn Prim, Donovan Dunn in 20th position, 21st, hot on his heels is Jason Farmer, who has done well in the past in terms of Pro-Am in the world of RaceFace.Pro, and also Pro last season here at RaceFace.Pro. Ruan Heineke in 22nd position, Barry Lubber, Ryan Barrington-Smith, Ari Madwai, Fals Terrell, along with Rob van der Heever, Sparish Yuri, Michael Peterson, Christian Zitzman, and Gavin Scriven, currently running in 31st position. We have lost one driver, unfortunately, as we had one retirement come into the fray of things. So, with the charge being done of that, we still keep an eye out to Mahaith Musa and Werner Skuman as a close battle, and Van der Walt and Hansi Meiberg as they go side by side. Does look like Van der Walt holding that inside line, trying to force a mistake out, is pushing themselves along, saying, listen, I'm not going to back out of this fight, I want to keep going and focus on the charge that's necessary to keep me at the top. I don't want to lose out any bit of time through this race, because it could be detrimental. Roland Ferreira unfortunately dropping wheel on the dirt, and we do see the number 51 having an accident. So let's see what happened to the number 51, and that is Rob van der Heever. So what happened to good old Rob? Rob van der Heever going and having a great run. For anyone that doesn't know, oh, Terence Ferreira though, giving him a good shove in the back. Nearly held it, Rob. Nearly. Unfortunately, Mustang going and branding itself onto the back of that car. Rob van der Heever, for anyone that does know, got mountains of racing experience and currently races in the NX Legends here in South Africa, and does really well. Likes to push it with the kids. He says that keeping racing with the youngsters in the NX Legends, the Young Lions class that goes after his class, which is the Masters, he likes to get a lot of pressure put onto him. He likes to return that in fray, especially when it comes to short circuit racing. We saw him out at Red Star do a fantastic job. They're actually running to the fringes of the circuit. So always good to have a chat to him and his brother. A big fan of the racing. Does give him a fair amount of gears, saying, listen, you get beaten out on sim racing, you can't be beaten out in real life. You've got to pick one. And big shout out to the Van der Heever family on that. So, Werner Skuman, Mahaith Musa still trying to have a go at one another, but that has brought them a little bit closer to this man here, Andre Serradio, who was been sitting in a bit of no man's land for quite some time, is now away from Fleming Bauer. He's got a back marker in front of him, but that has got Werner Skuman and Mahaith Musa suddenly right onto the back of him. It's going to ensure they're going to get into the fray of things here, force a mistake on the way through, and hope that they can get a pass done and dusted. But keep an eye, Jason Farmer is the target. He is one of the drivers that have completed their first pit stop within the pit window. 52 minutes to go. 45 minutes is where we expect to see cars start filtering in. So Jason Farmer is the bar where we want to see drivers start going and filing in. If you can get ahead of Jason Farmer, it means that you're in a good stead. If you get behind him, it means that your pit stop strategy is not going to work in your favor. So bear that in mind while you watch the drivers through. That being said, though, we also do have pit wall up and running for those that enjoy the live timing and you want to watch your favorite drivers in times. Pit wall is up. Go and click a link in the description or go to pit wall. We've got it all there for you guys to keep an eye out on all the action. It's always fantastic to have just bits and pieces where we can keep more and more information going and flowing to you guys right here in the world of RaceFace.Pro, and sponsored by our amazing partners that can keep us going in this monumental effort. Andre Serradio feeling the pressure for the first time in a long time. Werner Skuman breathing down the back of his neck, saying, listen, I had to deal with your teammate for quite some time. I'm sick and tired of that. Now it's time to run the stallion over the BMWs. The German machinery is going to lose out to the American machinery. Have you not seen Ford versus Ferrari? Could you not see what we have done in the past to our rivals? And Andre Serradio, Project Vapor, going and radioing in to Matthias, saying, okay, buddy, what are we going to do here? We need to work it out. Serradio can back him up into Matthias, and that does compromise his drive, but may allow Matthias an opportunity to put his nose in and try and get past, force that Mustang offline to try and gain a bit of time on the two of them. As you can see, Matthias once again tries to look for the outside line. It's favoring that right-hand side a lot. That seems to be his go-to on it. So this is where you're going to start trying to pick up where the driver's weaknesses are. Start floating in their mirrors. Start looking left, start looking right, and just figuring out without missing your brake marker, just like what happened there. Matthias now losing out into a second from where he was. Reginald Mitzeleni still putting pressure on Hunty Myberg on the way through. They've caught up to Ruan Saliers of ZRC. And there's the Rustic Racing, Ruan Saliers, representing the world of ZRC out on the track and getting cheered on by the team. Number 29 coming in to an accident, so let's go and take a look what happened. Unfortunately, oh man, this is Arya Madwai. Once again, Arya not having a great time out there, and having one of the McLarens right onto the back of him. What happened? Oh, light contact again from the 101. Not having a good time. Christian Zitzman going and catching Arya Madwai, but good to see Madwai out there trying everything possible to stick it all together. We do have a bit of a problem though for the the 667. This is Bernard Barkhuizen who had a bit of contact. He's not going to be too keen on that one, considering running in second place. Not ideal to be running into a bit of problems where you're putting wheel on the dirt. And catches up to Madwai. Oh, side-on contact. Thankfully, no real damage there. Will immediately get into the toe, but unfortunately, that does compromise a fair amount of drive. So drivers having to really work their way through here, trying to figure out what's going to be the gain. Oh, Werner Skuman slamming on the anchors. He didn't expect Serradio to lose so much drive through the corner. That did bottle him up a little bit. Serradio, though, going to try and out-accelerate him. Matthias getting into fray. They do have a back marker ahead of them on the Team Tryhard McLarens. Going to have to move out of the way quite swiftly. Doesn't want to become the meat in this sandwich. And considering you got the big birdie front engine cars of Andre Serradio, Werner Skuman and Matthias, two BMWs and a Ford chasing right behind you, you don't want to be in that meat sandwich. You want to try and get away as quick as you can. As we see Arya pulling into the pits, getting that pit stop done and dusted. Another one for the evening, another one in the books. And we'll be getting back out and going. McLaren sticking far to the left-hand side, trying to give a little bit of a lift. That is going to allow Werner Skuman to get by. So is Matthias. Unfortunately, not able to get the drive he would like a little bit further down. So Werner Skuman gets a drive. Serradio gets a drive. But Matthias, unfortunately, got stuck behind our back marker, lost out the drive through Maggots and Beckett's, which was already compromised for sitting on the left-hand side, trying to give way for these two, and that bottles you up. Would have lost roughly about 20 kilometers an hour into the corner entry already before it all got into the fray. Terence Ferrer pulling into the pits. Remember, Jason Farmer is the mark to go for there, and Jason Farmer already does move himself up into 17th position with William Wentworth chasing him down. So watch that Jason Farmer in the Porsche, the 369 car. That's the bar that all the drivers will be going and utilizing as when to do the pit stops within that top 10 running order. 46 minutes to go, and 36 minutes left to the pit window. Still so much time to play here. A lot to go on for. Henry Mayer out in first place. Bernard Barkhuizen in second. Bego Krubler in third. Fleming Bauer in fourth. Andre Serradio here lying in fifth place. Werner Skuman lying in sixth, who's getting desperately frustrated at this point, trying to figure out how can he get past the Project Vapor. Mayath Musa, who lost out drive, going and clawing his way, trying to figure out where he can make up some time. Mordred Klaassen is trying to make up a fair amount of time. Paul Fenton in a little bit in no man's land at the moment, quite just relaxing it. Mayath Musa does pull into the pit to get it all done and dusted. Did see a penalty coming into play, and that was for Terence Ferreira. Stop go 30-second penalty for Terence Ferreira, the player one racing the number 22 Ford Mustang. Unfortunately, for speeding through pit lane, gets 30 seconds stop go, and that is a loaded gun. Unfortunately, going right back towards your own strategy and blows it miles out of the water in that one. Rob van der Heever, though, very interesting, 30th position. One to keep an eye out for, as he's completed all of his pit stops. So yes, he did have damage on the back of his car, but now running in 30th position, completed all your pit stops, he's still within the fight. So keep an eye on that one. Andre Serradio, Vernon Skuman still blow for blow on one another. 0.3 of a second, closest fight on track. Number 7, unfortunately, having an accident though. Let's go back to our number 7, and that is Faz Tar. Side by side, that's Aria that's on the left hand side. Faz Tar getting it out of shape. Aria looking underneath. Oh, a little bit of contact. Twists him round. Keep it out the wall, keep it out the wall, and does so. But unfortunately, does compromise some severe drive there. Henry Plitt onto the back of Mahath Musa. Ruan Saliers has got Hansi Myburg all over the back of him. Hansi Myburg is going to keep pushing as hard as he can, but Mahath Musa has now gone and changed the bar. We were watching Jason Farmer in 17. Now Mahath Musa is the one to keep an eye out for, and he's pulled this once before and got it right. Gone for a little bit of an earlier pit stop, get the first one out the way. He's going to go for the second one a little bit later. Did do a splash and dash, 5.3 seconds on that last pit stop, so that means he still has a set of tires in the bag possible to get done and dusted within the 34 minutes left of this race to try and gain some time on the rest of the field. Track has dropped a couple of degrees though, from 23 degrees, which we had in qualifying, now down to 18 degrees. So tire degradation should be a little less, but they will be losing about 2 psi on the tires, which unfortunately is because they run on the curbs quite a bit. Remember, this is a very abrasive circuit for these cars. Henry Mayer, though, starting to flirt with those track limits, going and running out wide. Careful, careful, careful. We have got the Michael Massey of stewards keeping an eye on it, and unfortunately, instead of course, Competizione is not shy of handing out penalties, as we see with the drive-through penalties and a stop-go 30-second penalty being dished out so early on in the race. Our drivers hoping that they can maintain the drive, keep themselves towards the top. And who will be able to claw their way to victory? It is an outright. Who is it going to be? And honestly, at the moment, cards are looking at Henry Mayer, but Bernard Barkhuizen, who was originally 2 seconds behind, has now picked up a bit of time. He is now 1.5 seconds. So that's one to keep an eye out for. Bego Krubler in a little bit no man's land. He's about 5 seconds off, lying in third place. Fleming Bauer in 3.7 seconds in fourth place. But Andre Serradio, Werner Skuman, these two are still fighting it out. Not closing the gap to Fleming Bauer, but going and actually forcing it to increase as they're so busy with one another. They're not being able to deal with the problem at hand. Werner Skuman, though, big send on the inside. Tried to get the pass done and dusted. Couldn't get it all sorted out. Has to wait it out. Serradio going and allowing the car to drift out a little bit wide to give a bit of room there. Both drivers trusting each other quite a bit here in terms of close racing, but to go nose to tail racing for so far 37 minutes of the race. This has been a rather incredible time for the two of them to keep the focus up, and I've got to say, bravo, hats off for close racing for this long, especially to keep on the tail of one another, keep in the rear wing, forcing each other to go. But this also does lean into something what a lot of drivers will be talking to their race engineers at this point, and that will be how much fuel is being used. Andres Herodio will be going and calculating what his fuel is being used, because at the moment he's running the same lap times as Werner Skuman, roughly the same lap times. Last lap time was a 59.7 compared to Skuman's 159.2, but equally they should be doing about 3.2, 3.5 liters per lap possibly on a tank. And to work out with 120 liter tanks, it does make things come into play. So you can really start working out roughly where your driver's fuel is sitting and where you can make a move. Aria, unfortunately, jumping over the curb, and that has allowed Rob van der Heever to get all over the back of him, looking left and right. Remember, Rob van der Heever has no more pit stops in the bag here. So this is a sprint race to the end, and nearly getting that side-on contact as Aria, unfortunately, getting a snap oversteer, trying to fight it out with the Ferrari. Looks to try and get past. Not able to get that done, and dusted just as he backs out of it. And constantly going around. There's some quite wild actions onto the steering, trying to bring it back. Lots of finessing going on there. And that's very strange inputs coming in. Compared to, let's go to Rob van der Heever. You can see a lot easier in terms of his inputs versus Aria, which is left, right, left, right. Not the most ideal inputs in terms of keeping the car going, but still trying to keep a good fight there. There we go, massive load pit stops are really starting to happen. Henry May into the pits, Fleming Bauer into the pits, Werner Skuman's into the pits, Bernard Barkhuizen, Kerry Fontel, Paul Fenter, and Jaco Kutzer into the pits. So that is going to allow Bego Krubler, Andres Herodio, and Mordred Claessens to gain a bit of time. They'll get into the top three and be going to be smiling on that. Mahath Musa will be moving himself into 4th position. Interesting stuff here, because that does allow Werner Skuman up a position as well. So Werner Skuman and Mahath Musa, similar strategy, going and getting their way through. Interesting enough though, Henry Platt running in 6th position, has not pitted. Henry Mayer though, here's where the strategy is starting to come in, folks. Henry Mayer stopped in the box, 32.5 seconds. Bernard Barkhuizen, 32.0 seconds. Now, what does that mean? Talking about 30 seconds. What is the extra 30 seconds? Well, that's a fresh set of tyres that's been put on those cars, and they're able to go and stretch it out a little bit more. So they've gone for, not a splash and dash, they've gone for a full tyre change, which means their final stop's going to be a splash and dash, which means they're going to run it right down to the wire. If we go back to history, and I'm really leading on my bit of going back to the textbooks here, it is going to be within the final minute or two of the race. The 447 though, unfortunately, yellow flag kicking up, and this is for one of our team tryouts. This is Gavin, who is trying to keep it all together. In the McLaren, does he get a snap oversteer on the power? All for dirt, wheel in the dirt. Oh man, just that right rear clipping the dirt, saves it, light touch on the wall, no damage there, but unfortunately those tyres are now dead. Ryan Barrington-Smith down in Pitstop, he is completed for the race. Jason Farmer's completed for the race. So many cars now starting to jump in. Andres Herodio, Mordred Claessens, they've both pulled into the pits. Bego Krubler going to do another lap. Remember, he's got 2 pit stops still to do. Now we talk about the pit stop strategy. Orange is mandatory pit stops. Green means that you complete all your pit stop. Number in that orange means how many pit stops you need to do. How do you do a pit stop? You need to stop in the square in your box. You get jacked up. They put at least 1 liter of fuel in the car. Put down and go. Don't have to change tires. Don't have to max out your tank. Just put 1 liter in the car. That being said, 1 liter is not going to get you to the end of the race, so you're going to have to really start thinking out. And considering how the teams work out their fueling strategies, they really get in that these cars can only get 1 lap. Andre Serradio disqualified. Andre Serradio got disqualified out of the race. That is going to be for speeding in pits. He either came into pits too fast, it had to be for going, or he had the pit limiter off and was speeding out of the box. Either way, Andre Serradio is out of the race. He is done. He is taking his helmet off, and what was running 7th in the championship is now out of the running. Bego Krobler pulls into the pits. Werner Skuman, Henry Mayer, Bernard Barkhuizen, Ruan Saliers, Hansi Myberg, Fleming Bauer. That has changed it up. That is absolutely gutting. Oh man. Well, we're gonna try and get comms with Andre Serradio. Ruan Heineke with a stop-go 30-second penalty. That's for speeding in pits. But we're gonna try and get some comms with the likes of Andre Serradio and see if maybe, just maybe, we can have a chat to him. I know that it is a bit of a heart-sore one, and I know he's not going to be the most keen about it. But he is going to start focusing on Mahath Musa and just trying to help Mahath now gain some valuable time after... Oh man, that is just gutting. So Barry Lubber with a drive-through penalty. Ruan Heineke with a stop-go. It's all starting to come into the fray of things because Lubber, who has been pushed offline a couple of times, unfortunately, now getting a drive-through penalty added to it. Ruan Heineke, who has completed all these pit stops, has to do a stop-go 30-second as well, and that's a 3rd pit stop for him. That is going to throw him any chance of that top 10 out, and in the bin, long since gone. And Ryan Berry-Smith getting a pass done. Ruan Heineke not even arguing with it, just says, listen, get past me. Now I'm just going to try and keep to the end. We're going to try and continue to get comms with the Project Vapor team just to identify, maybe try and have a chat to Andre Serradio and figure out what exactly caused that disqualification, that DSQ that kicked up on the screen. Whether it was speeding into pits, whether... The only thing I can think of is either he didn't have the pit limiter on and kept accelerating and got way over the limit and it disqualified him, or he came flying into the pits as fast as he could and unfortunately missed the mark, and that's where he got the penalty. Well, that's a server penalty. Man, oh man, that is gutting. That is properly gutting. It was doing so well. Well, that being said, though, 24 minutes left of this race, and it's already evolved. Lots and lots of things going on. Werner Skuman out in 1st place now. Henry Mayer in 2nd place. Bernard Barkhuizen in 3rd. Bego Krobler in 3rd place. Werner Skuman now pulling into the pit, so he's going to get his pit stop done and dusted. Ruan Saliers running in 5th position. 6th, Fleming Bauer, Mordred Claessens, Kerry Funsell, Mahath Musa, Henry Plutz, along with Paul Fenter, Jason Farmer, Hansi Myberg a little bit further down. In 13th, Ruan van der Walt. In 14th, 15th, Ryan Barrington-Smith. Elwin Prim, Reginald Mutaleni, Fars Tar, William Wentworth, Ruan Heineke currently in pits. Andre Serradio in pits. He has been disqualified, so he's going to be way out of it. Barry Lubber now pulling into the pits, so he's in 21st position. Terence Ferreira, Sparish Yuri in 24th. 25th, Michael Pierce, Rob van der Heever, Ari Madwai. Still going out there, having a bit of fun. Good to see him out having a great one. Christian Zetzman, Gavin Scruton now into the pits. Donovan Dunn and Ludwig Zetzman a little bit further down in 30th position. So there's the running order as it stands. So much having to come into fray here. Man, oh man. This is now turning into a race of nutrition, folks, of who can be able to get themselves that little bit further up the road. Werner Skuman, though, is the target. He's completed all these pit stops, and is right behind Mahath Musa, who has also completed all these pit stops. So these two have swapped positions. So Venus Guman is lying in 9th position, as we'll see him coming to the fray with the Ford Mustang. Mahath Musa in the BMW. And now giving a quick tap on the light, saying, Gavin, listen, you best get out of our way quite quickly because I'm in a sprint race right to the end. And these two already have done battle. But what has come into it is now Mahath Musa's defense of Andres Rodeo to be in the fray of things is now completely gone. So Project Vapor, unfortunately, down one driver and both having to deal their way through. Team Tryhard of Gavin, unfortunately, going and getting into the mix and does slow up, much to the, the happy running of Mahath Musa. Kerry Fonsell, though, the other flag getting kicked up for him. Sorry, he did have contact with Terence Ferreira. So Terence Ferreira in the Mustang, and this is Kerry Fonsell in the BMW of the Pandacity team. Now going side by side. Terence Ferreira late on the brakes, trying to keep it all together. Side by side they go. Oh, here he tried to go for the undercut to get that sweep underneath him. Couldn't get the sweep done. Misjudged it. Bit of contact to the front nose onto the rear. Unfortunately, that puts a slight bend to the car and will be affecting a little bit of top end. Not much, but just enough to irritate you once, twice, 3 times more. Van der Walt, though, with some severe damage to the front end of his car, has got Ryan Barrington-Smith all over the back of him. Ryan Barrington-Smith, bear in mind, does not need to pit anymore. Well, Van der Walt does need a pit, so Ryan needs to figure out how to get past easily, safely, and with no damage on the cards here, with Van der Walt, who has got some repair work needed on his car as he fights his way through, not going and yielding the position. They are still racing for on-track position between the two of them. So there is no rule saying, hey, just move out my way because you've got a bit of damage here. It is an outright fight all the way through, and Van der Walt feels like he's still got the legs in it to stay in the fight. Always great to see drivers with zero quit and all the charge on the way through. 20 minutes left of this pit window, though, so Van der Walt's going to have to get himself into the pits. Let's take a look quickly who needs to do the pit stops, because Ruan Saliers still needs to get 2 pit stops done and dusted. There's 20 minutes left of the race, and that is going to throw him way down the order. It's already too late to do the late pit stops. 2 pit stops is going to drop him out of the top 10, guaranteed. But Henry Mayer, who we see out on screen currently, Bernard Barkhuizen, who's right on his tail, who's going to be the first to pull the trigger on these two to get their pit stop done and dusted. Remember who they keep an eye out for. 8th place is the bar. You don't want to fall behind 8th place. You want to stay from 7th and up. And at the moment, Mahath Musa is having a great run as he fights his way through. So 2 of them going to have to keep a close eye. Bit of a side-by-side battle as we see Ryan Barrington-Smith getting past, going and making his way through. Van der Walt, though, tries to look around the outside, switches to the inside, switches to the outside, under braking, guessing at this point where to get past the OQ by Omen Racing, trying to figure out where exactly the pass is going to be done and dusted. Not going to be an easy one. Up into first place, so Henry Mayer, Bernard Barkhuizen right on top of one another. 1.8 seconds apart for first and second. And as said, who's going to be able to get that trigger pull first between them? Who's going to be the one to accelerate? Who's going to get it done and dusted and claw their way to victory? Not going to be an easy run. Lots of guessing. Our drivers trying to figure out what's going to be the advantages here, what's going to be the game to play in terms of a long strategy. Reginald Mutuleni, though, going off-road and into the wall. Reginald Mutuleni gets it wrong, goes across the circuit, flying across the circuit. What on happened to Reginald? As we're going to go straight to the helicam on this one. He was in a monstrous fight. Looks like he came into blows. That is the number 51. That's one of the AF Corsa cars. No, he dropped a wheel on the dirt. Bang into the first wall. Kept on the throttle. Trying to bring it back. And unfortunately gets twisted around. That is a lot of damage on his car. And I bet you if we go in car with the helmet cam. Yep, that steering bent. That's as bent as a £2 note and loses it in pit lane. Reginald Mutaleni has lost it sideways into pit lane and has blocked up pit lane a little bit. Not often you get to see it, but when you got a steering wheel that is bent as that, well, not going to work. As our drivers make their way through, Bernard Barkhuizen still keeping the charge. Henry Mayer going and running in first place, losing out a little bit more time. As the last lap time, though, Bernard Barkhuizen not getting the fastest. He was a 1:58.357 over Henry Mayer, doing a 1:58.302. Gerry van Zyl, though, also coming in with a yellow flag. And the 118, unfortunately, that's compromised. His drive will allow Mahath Musa to get behind him. So let's see what happened as we take a look on board with Gerry van Zyl. Snap oversteer, ABS, traction control, everything engaging. Maggots, Beckett's, forget it. And then gets back on the power. Man, oh man. Lots going on there, as Elsie Jabir says. Plenty of action, I have to agree. So much going on, and now that everything's starting to taper off, 16 minutes left of our pit window for drivers to get their pit stops done and dusted. Many drivers still need to get a lot of work onto the cars, many still needing to actually do their pit stops, but others taking the gamble. Ruan Saliers is the only driver that has not done a single pit stop as yet. Not ideal. Not ideal in his circumstance. Henry Mayer out in first, Bernard Barkhuizen in second place, Bago Krobler lying in third, Fleming Bauer in fourth, Ruan Saliers in fifth, sixth place, Mordre Claessens, Gerry van Zyl running in seventh, Mahath Musa in eighth, Werner Skuman in ninth, Henry Platt currently running in 10th place, Paul Venter right on the back of him, Jason Farmer, and then Hansi Myberg. Ryan Barrington-Smith going and doing everything he can. Ruan van der Walt trying to gain a little bit of time. Elwin Prim going and fighting out as William Wentworth looks to try and gain some time. Terence Ferreira followed by Ruan Heineke of Griffin Sim Racing. I know LC Jabir going and saying, go Griffin Sim Racing team. Well, there's one of them. And having a bit of fun there. Terence Ferreira with a drive-through penalty with 24 minutes to go. That is track limits exceeded. Unfortunately, that's going to hurt. Foster lying in 20th position. Barry Lubber in 21st. 22nd, Rob van der Heever, also part of the Griffin Sim Racing team. Reginald Mutaleni back out on track after the bit of repair work done to his car. Noob Nation Evo, unfortunately, going and living up to the name there. Ari Madwai going and needing to still do one more pit stop, followed by Gavin Scrudon, who's a little bit further down. Michael Pedersen lying in 26th. 27th is Spirish Yuri. And then we've got Christian Zitzman pulling into the pits. Ludwig Zitzman going to be trying to gain a little bit of time. Zitzman brothers of the Ebb and Flow going and having a good run. Andre Serradio, unfortunately, disqualified out of the race. Still heartbreak. Absolute heartbreak for that one. Still would love to actually have a chat to the driver and see just maybe what happened. Give us a bit of insight. And I can take the tinfoil hat off, because at this moment, if someone turns on a microwave, it's going to cook the little hamster in my brain. That is for certain. Paul Venter trying to get a little bit of time. Does see that Henry is caught up behind Zetzman and has dropped off track. So now Henry way off track. Paul Venter going and saying, you can't park there, sir. I'm going to get past you. Gets past Zetzman at the same time. As Zetzman stuck on the outside. Henry trying to bring it back. Unfortunately, a little bit further down the order than planned. And that is going to drop him out. Jason Farmer going to go and gain a little bit of time as he sees Zetzman right into the front of him and says, okay, well, sorry, that's Henry Platt ahead of him, and says, all right, Henry, time to play the long game here. I'm going to close up onto the back of you. So, Henry Mayer out in first, Bernard Barkhuizen in second. It's all starting to open up as our drivers get going. Lots and lots of racing happening here in the final 22 minutes. And it is going to be a monumental run for all our drivers. Werner Skuma and Mahath Musa all over the back of them. Bego Krobler trying everything he can, lying in third place, getting a bit of support from Magic Waven as they try and make a good move on one another. I know Waven going and saying, all right, let's keep an eye out for the hybrid racing as they charge a way through. Fleming Bauer and Ron Salir still need to do those pit stops, leaving it till last minute. 11 minutes to go. He's going to try and stack it. That's not going to work out though. Don't think that's going to work out in his favor. Unfortunately, it will throw him down the order. But drivers are trying everything they can now to score valuable points because there's only 4 rounds in this championship and everyone has to take the long game. 4 rounds in the championship. First round was at Messina, done and dusted. Second one's been at Silverstone, which we are currently watching. 2 more rounds to go next week and the following week, and we will be going and telling you on which track it is come the end of this broadcast. We'll be showing off where we're heading out next, where we're flying out next in the world. Werner Skuma getting the drive. Now the Pandassi infiltrate freedom, going off to the back of Mahath Musa. Will be putting a lot of pressure onto the back of him, seeing maybe left, maybe right. Looks to the inside line, second guesses the option. Trying to carve his way through. Mahath Musa doing everything he can, dropping the wheel off on the dirt. Oh, and did hook up on the curb as well. That's going to take a bit of life out of the tyres. Werner Skuma doing exactly the same through Magaton Beckett as he bounces his way through. So Werner Skuma now has got the drive. It's time for the Mustang to roar. Tries to close up under braking, but it is the BMW a little bit easier on the braking. It's able to get that nose dip down, pivoted on, and get going once again. But Mahath Musa has turned up the brake bias quite a bit to the front, because you can watch how he enters into the corner, puts a nose in, stacks a nose right up, and then lets the rear start to steer itself out. So lots of pressure being put on those front wheels, but in turn, just trying to carry as much of the momentum out of the corners to stay ahead of Werner Skuma, who is trying to force the rear to slow down a lot more than the nose, try and get that understeer out of it, and hoping that maybe they'll also get rid of some of the oversteer when he gets back onto that power and stops it from squatting down. You can see as he gets back onto the power, it's going and tipping the car a little bit, rocking it to the right as it just wants to snap out underneath him. Not going to be an easy time there. Drivers going and tinkering with these cars while they're doing it. Brake bias is one that you can change. Traction control you can change. ABS you can change in the car physically while you're driving. And as the race goes down, as your tires start to degrade, and as the race starts to change, start moving things a little bit. Depending on where that understeer, oversteer is starting to creep in on you, changing the brake bias will at least help go and reduce what you're facing. It won't get rid of it, but it will reduce what's needed. One of the GSR teams, though, unfortunately, going to get a whole lot of Mahath Musa and the Project Vapor of Werner Skuma closing up into the back of him quite quickly as we see him going by. Adam Magaton Beckett's going to have the toe. Mahath Musa is going to use that toe as long as possible. Gets a little bit of a cheeky flash there saying, listen, I'm going to come for you. Does look for the inside line. Couldn't get the pass done and dusted. And we'll have to think about the long-term strategy here. We see Hansi Marburg has pulled into the pits. So he's getting himself in and out of this as quick as possible. Pit window now down to 8 minutes. And we still got our top 6 needing to do their pit stops. Ruan Saliers running in 5th position. Still need to get 2 pit stops out of the way. Not ideal circumstances there, but he's still into that top 6 for now. 17 minutes and 50 seconds left of this race. It's still open cards for all the drivers to get it done or dusted. Anything can happen, as we saw last week, where we suddenly had disconnects coming into play. Hansi Myberg, though. No! Hansi, no! 30-second stop-go penalty. Somebody get him a twin saver because that man is crying. Silverstone and this driver. For anyone that doesn't know Hansi Myberg, Silverstone and this driver are not friends by any stretch of the imagination. Hansi Myberg is yet to have a race around Silverstone in nearly 2 years, from 2023 to 2024, where he hasn't scored a drive-through or a stop-go penalty on this circuit. It has just plagued it. It's been one of those tracks that just absolutely eats at your soul. And Hansi Myberg, when I had a chat to him this evening, said, I've got a good feeling on this, Steve. I've got a good feeling that's going to work for me. And unfortunately, it just came off the button a fraction too early. And that stop-go 30-second penalty is just a right kick in the backside. 31 laps completed by our leader, Henry Mayer, out in the charge, still ahead of Bernard Barkhuis. And open up that gap, 2.2 seconds between the two of them. Bego Frubler lying in third place. Fleming Bauer in fourth. Rancelia is currently in fifth. Sixth is Kerry Funzel, followed by Mahath Musa. Werner Skuman immediately getting onto the back of him. Mordred Claessens and Paul Fenter. As we keep an eye on Werner Skuman and Mahath Musa, they are close onto the back of one another. They caught up to Midwai, who is in the Ferrari just ahead of them. Right, we've seen getting caught out once, twice. Ooh, slapped on the anchors right there. A little bit of a difficult situation for Mahath Musa as he had to go and dive a bit. There's a lot of Werner Skuman to go side by side as they make their way through. Werner Skuman trying to go for the cutback. Can he get it done? Looked for it. Goes around the outside. Will he have a drive out on the exit? Will it work? Nope, not this time around. But he is going to get the slipstream. He's going to get pulled along. Mahath Musa holds to the inside line. Going to go back to center line. Force it out. Straighten the steering a little bit. Get that understeer to come in. Tightens up. He's going to have the advantage through the right-hander. Oh, slight little bit of contact there as Werner Skuman tried to get his nose in and force him right off that apex. But Mahath Musa going with that big defense. These two have been fighting it out all race and have been the closest of our battles. Werner Skuman trying to bait for that right-hand side. Mahath Musa was not going to have any of it. Werner Skuman having to just think what's going to work out in his favor here. He is going to look for the pass. Magus Beckett, we jump on board with him. Off the roll bar cam. Holding fourth, down into third. Carry the momentum, down in second, high second. Keep on the power, keep on the power. All the way through. Third. Into fourth. Hopping the curb way too much there. Lost our bit of drive. It's going to keep him in the toe. Mahath Musa holding that inside line. Pulled out of the toe way too early. Down in the second. Trying to bait Mahath Musa out into a bit of an out. Snap oversteer coming in. Going to have the advantage on the outside. Can he get it hooked in? Undercut. Can he get it done? Tries. Mahath Musa stopping dead on those apexes though. Well done. Absolutely banger between these two. What a race between Mahath Musa and Werner Skuman. Henry May has pulled the trigger, so he's pulled into the pits. That's going to promote Barkhuis into the top spot. But these two have been an absolute slugfest. And I think both drivers are absolutely loving it. What a send though! Werner Skuman, monster send back. Believed that the brakes are going to stop him. Gets the pass done. Mahath Musa had no answer for that one. Did not expect the Mustang to get such a good drive and stop out. So he's going to have to bail it out. Mahath Musa tries to go around the outside. He's going to go maybe to put his nose in. But Werner Skuman, who has been fighting it out, no jokes, ladies and gentlemen, throughout the entire race for 1 hour and 6 minutes, Werner Skuman has finally, and I mean finally, put himself into 7th position ahead of Mahath Musa. Absolute slugfest between them. Monumental. Love it. This is what racing's all about. But after an hour of going and fighting it out, I think I would be absolutely sucked. There would be nothing left of me. And these two drivers are giving it their absolute best. Myers Musselo's got the drive out of the Maggots and Beckett's. He's going to go for it. He's going to try and come back at Werner Skuman. Can he carry the drive? Oh, I don't think he's got the legs in terms of it. The Mustang just carrying a little bit more. Myers Musselo does have the advantage of being a little bit more cooled down. He's going to put the pressure back onto Werner Skuman, who is braking very early to try and foul up Myers Mussa. Great tactics on that one. Try and back your markers off just a little bit more and allow the guy to compromise his drive. But these two, you could swear they're fighting for first. Bernard Barkhuizen is now into the pits. Beggar Krobler's into the pits. Fleming Bauer, you're going to pull into the pits. 1 minute and 40 seconds. Yep, you're entering the pits. That is going to put Henry Mayer back into contention. He's 11 seconds back. And they're going to be flying out. Beggar Krobler in the pits. Bernard Barkhuizen now rolling. Fleming Bauer rolling. Henry Mayer, where are you? There you are. Coming down. Is it going to be enough? This is going to be close. Henry Mayer gets past Bernard Barkhuizen right before. But, oh man, this is going to be a close for first and second as they are suddenly seeing each other out on track. Beggar Krobler getting ahead of Fleming Bauer. Werner Skuman, though, going to try and hammer it. Fleming's got to get going rather quickly here as they get themselves back out on track. It is now the final 10 minutes and 55 seconds of racing for our top runners to see who's going to get it all. Closest battle, Werner Skuman, Myers Mussa, now 1.3 seconds between them. So it looks like Myers Mussa running out a bit in the tank. Barry Lubber and Henry Plott now all over the back of one another as Henry goes for the inside pass. Gets it past. Barry had no answer for that one. And the two McLarens getting their drive on the way out. Rian Celias pulling into the pits. That knocks him out of the top 10. Short-lived, unfortunately. Taking a bit of a gamble that didn't quite work out to plan. But you got to take all the risks if you want to try and get the rewards. Kerry Van Zyl trying to catch up to Paul Fenter just ahead of him in the Aston Martin. But all eyes are towards the front as we hear from Jim on the radio confirming pit window is now closed. Pit window is now closed. So if you haven't served your pit stops, you are now in a world of trouble. Ruan Celias onto the back of Ryan Barrington-Smith. And it looks like he is going to really try and force an option here. As Ryan ran out a little bit wide. Ruan will be hoping to close up the gap as they look to carry the momentum through. 9 minutes of the race to go. And it's an alright fight. We will be seeing a new race winner for the RaceFace.Pro Community World Qualifiers. Brought to you by SRO Esports and SimGrid. And a big shout out to our sponsors here, local SA Loop, along with Ondorf Machinery Mart, Red Star Raceway, and Scallywags. Also jumping on board to be part of this historic championship where we're going to select 2 drivers that come in the top of the championship and put themselves up against the best in the world in the SRO Esports Community World Championship. As you see, Ron Celias going very wide. Ryan Barrington-Smith not going to be watching the mirrors on that one. Going to be saying, I don't know what you think, buddy. You're a little bit far there. But cool. You enjoy your day. I'm going to keep on with mine. Consistency is key here for all our drivers. Henry Mayer, though, keeping consistent. 2.9 seconds ahead of Bernard Barkhuizen. Let's quickly go through gains and losses. Myers Mussa started in 8th place. He's now into 6th. Paul Fenter started in 11th. He's now into 8th, so he's up 3 positions. Myers Mussa up 2. Jason Farmer up 2. Ryan Barrington-Smith down 1. Ruan Celias up 7. William Wentworth. I do want to point out, big shout out to William Wild Wentworth. He started 31st. He's up into, he's gained 18 positions, up into 13th. So well done, William.
2 positions up is Ren van der Walt. 1 position down, Ren Heineke. Huntley Myberg, 1 position down. Fars Tar, up 1 position. Alwyn Prim, up 8 positions. Henry Platt, down 2 positions. Barry Lubber, up 8 positions. Reginald Mitteleni, up 1. Rob van der Heever, up 2. Gavin, down 3 positions. Mark Pedersen, up 3. Sparish Yuri, up 5. Christian Zetzman, down 5. Ari Madwai, up 2. Ludwig Zetzman, down 3. Terence Ferreira, up 3. And unfortunately, Andres Serradio, down 24 positions with a disqualification, taking him out of that race. So he was going and radioing in to Mahath Musa, helping him out. And I think he's still in the radio comms with him, saying, all right, buddy, let's put our head down here. Let's keep the focus up. It's not done yet. There's still so much on the cards. 6 minutes and 42 seconds to go, though. It does look like the race is starting to open up, and drivers starting to feel the pressure breaking off, except for Fars Tar, who's got Alwyn Prim onto the back of him. 2 AF Corsa Ferraris are going to keep pushing and keep themselves going. So Alwyn Prim hoping they can gain 1 more position over Fars Tar, who's running in 17th position, just within arm's reach every single time. Also, their lap times, Alwyn Prim was actually faster on that last lap, doing a 2:06, where Fars Tar was a 2:1.4. Both a little bit slow over Magnus Mix, a little bit of a rocky drive there. Alwyn Prim looking inside, couldn't get all done and dusted as yet. He's going to try and follow through, get back into the tow. They're starting to catch up to one of our other Ferraris. That's Ari Madwa, who is doing a just bang-up job trying to keep it all going. Keeping the momentum. We'll suddenly have these two all over one another. Tar going out wide, loses out a position as Alwyn Prim gets past and will continue to get going. Big shout-outs coming in from the grandstand. So one of them going and saying, Huim Bago. And that's from Tianis Butter, part of the Hybrid Racing, going and shouting for his fellow teammate, Bago Krobler of Hybrid Racing in the grandstands. And hoping that Bago can hold on to that 3rd place. He's currently 16 seconds ahead of Fleming Bauer, so unless something goes brutally wrong, I don't think Fleming Bauer is going to be staring at that 3rd place anytime soon, other than going and saying, right, missed it this round, let's go back to the drawing board and let's work on the next strategy. He'll be working very closely with his teammate Henry Mayer, who seems to be on a proper charge to put himself into the top of the charts, and by finishing up in 1st here tonight, will move him into 1st place in the championship and ensure that he locks that one. Bernard Barkhuizen will ensure that he'll be 2nd in the championship and will be part of the fight. So something to keep an eye out for on those two, as there's a lot to play for. Bernard Barkhuizen running on 38 points. This 2nd place, even 1st, is desperately needed to keep him in contention. Bago Krobler, who's running 3rd place, is currently 5th in the championship and hoping to continue on a bit more momentum at this point, as he hopes to get ahead of Fleming Bauer. It's going to actually close up the gap between Fleming Bauer and himself, as they went in 3 points difference from round 1 to round 2. So this is going to close up that 3 points that is needed between the two of them, going and swapping around. So outright charges, 3 minutes and 46 seconds to go. Racing starting to break out. Paul Venter keep ahead of Kerry van Zyl. It was looking to get close, 1.5, but then Kerry van Zyl unfortunately lost out that drive and wasn't able to get going. Sparish Yuri, though, he's having a good go with Christian Zetzman right on the back of him. Zetzman trying to close on to the back of that little bit of a dinged up Lamborghini. Terence Ferreira looks like he has also retired the car. So Terence Ferreira in the Mustang calling it quits and has parked the car. Will not be going out anymore. And fortunately, that will be dropping him out of the running. So this is a bit of a shout out to the teams that are currently watching the broadcast live right here at Silverstone for the RaceFace.Pro SRO Esports Community World Qualifiers. This goes out to the team. We'd like to have a chat to one or two of the drivers just at the end of it. mainly being our top 3 would be ideal. So if you are in communications with Henry Mayer, Bernard Barkhuis and Bego Krubler, please let us know. We'd love to have a chat to them. Even Werner Skuman and Matthias Musa would be a really good chat at the end of the race for their monumental battle. And lots to talk about there. And just to get a bit of an insight of how the racing has been. So if you are in communication, which I know you guys are, please let them know to come to the commentary box, come and have a chat, and we'll love to get their perspective. With 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go left of this race, soak up a bit of the Silverstone, as it takes nearly 2 minutes to get a lap done and dusted here at Silverstone. So I do expect a lot of our drivers will be starting to count down the end. Henry Mayer will be waiting for the moment. I think we'll slightly back off the throttle. Not too much though, because he doesn't want to compromise to Bernard Barkhuis, and still 2.3 seconds. But, oh man, Ludwig Zetman gone off. Ludwig of Ebb and Flow, unfortunately, going feld farming. Jim giving us that confirmation that Henry Mayer, Bernard Barkhuis and Bego Krubler are now on their final lap. Zetman back up and going after his little bit of escapades off into the veld. Let's actually take a look. This is the number 98 that also ran into a problem, Michael Pitstop, who got it all types of wrong within the same time. Can't see anything there. Maggots, Beckett's. I think it was slight curve. So, our drivers making it all, trying to figure it out. Henry Mayer, though, done a stellar job. Will be looking to close down and going to be smiling ear to ear on this one, as Henry Mayer will be looking to take the checkered flag for round 2 of the championship, with Bernard Barkhuis within arm's reach behind him, trying to give it all he can. Christian Zetman currently ahead of our leader, just trying to keep his own race going. Henry Mayer can just keep behind him, doesn't have to go into the attack just as yet. He can back out of this fight, rather focus on the long game here. Looks like Zetman giving a bit of space will allow Henry Mayer to get by as we follow him through. Let's jump on board for the final run as he makes his way towards the line. What a run for Henry Mayer. Big smiles on his face. Checkered flag comes up on the dash, and checkered flag as he comes across the line. Henry Mayer taking the win. Bernard Barkhuis finishing up in 2nd place. Bego Krubler going and finishing up in 3rd. Fleming Bauer, after a monumental effort, will be coming across the line, finishing up in 4th place. Right behind him, Werner Skuman in the Mustang. A monster fight from his side, as we do see one of the McLarens, and I think that was Reginald Mitteleni, stuck it in the wall. Werner Skuman comes across. Matthias Musa. Mordre Claessens will be coming across the line, finishing up in 7th position. Paul Venter in 8th, along with Kerry van Zyl, Jason Farmer, Ryan Barrington-Smith, and then we got Ruan Saliers 13th, Wild William Wentworth 14th, going to Ruan van der Walt. Ruan Heineke, Hansi Myberg in 16th, 17th, going to Elman Prem. Foz Tyre, Henry Plott, Barry Lubber, Rob van Hever, Gavin Scruton, along with Reginald Mutelani, finishing in 21st. So then we've got Michael Pieterse finishing in 24th. Christian Zetman, Sparius Yuri, Ari Madwai, Ludwig Zetman, and Andre Serradio going and rounding out our field. But all eyes go to the front of Henry Mayer right at the end. Tremendous, tremendous stuff as our drivers continue to cross the line here at Silverstone for the final time and say goodbye to Silverstone for round 2. They're going to be quite happy on this one with it being done and dusted, with all eyes heading towards round 3. Later, we're going to be heading to that next week. Let's
take a quick break. Let's head back and take a look at Silverstone as we take our final aerial shot, saying, well, we finally hit this point, ladies and gentlemen. Halfway mark now done and dusted as we say goodbye to Silverstone and we take a quick look at the highlights of the race while we see if we could try and get a couple of chats done and dusted with a couple of our drivers that we want to have a chat to. I do see one of them actually coming and joining us, so we'll be bringing him in. Let's bring in Werner Skuman, who was having a great fight out there. Werner Skuman, welcome to the There we go. Werner Skuman, welcome to the commentary box. Glad to have you here. What a race. Nose to tail, hour and 6 minutes with Mahath Musa. And eventually the Ford Mustang getting a pass. You took a deep breath. You took a gamble. You hoped the brakes would hold. And you got the pass done. How are you feeling after that?
Hey, Steven. Well, yeah. I'm wet. With all this sweat. Like, first it was Serodio. Then it was Serodio and Musa. And then Serodio got unlucky with the DSQ. And then it was just Musa again. Like, I don't know what the tracks us do to each other, but it just keeps on going. Now I'm still a little bit shaky.
I mean, we were watching the battle start to finish. I'm sure when you saw Serodio unfortunately getting that disqualification, that was a bit of a sigh of relief on your side, going, whew, at least that's out of the way. Now I've only got one car to worry about instead of two.
Yeah, look, it's very unfortunate for him. But I was a little bit giggling and happy that it happened. Because I don't know how the end would have panned out with both of them just right there. Yeah, their strategy alone is good, so I don't want to see what they can do as a team together.
Well, let's talk about the very moment that you got the pass done and dusted. And that was Mahath Musa was going to the middle of the circuit, did not expect you to dive up on the inside. What made you decide to just make it stick, to put your nose in there? What was the difference maker that made you feel more comfortable with the car?
Yeah, so I think the big thing was the previous laps. Every time we get to that corner, I try and go around the outside, and we all know that's never going to happen. So I think Musa was used to me and was thinking I was still going to go to the outside. So as we approached the corner, I could see he was turning a little bit to the right. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, now let me go on the inside. If I make it, I make it. If I don't, that's going to be a problem. But yeah, fortunately, I got the pass done.
Well, you pulled a Joker card. Excuse the pun, because I know you use that as a game attack. But you pulled it. You got it working. Well done. Well, for all the petrol heads out there and for our spectators, sponsors, everyone watching now and in the future, anything you would like to say to them and also to your fellow drivers out there on track before we let you go, Werner Skuman of Pandacity and Infiltrate.
Yeah, look, I know I'm not supposed to be here. I just heard that you would want to talk to me.
Yes.
So,
I wanted to talk to you and Mahath because you guys it was a phenomenal race. We got to also just take our hat off to even those that didn't come in first, second, and third, those that have had a good race to give their side. So it's always glad to see you in the commentary box.
Yeah, I wish Musa was here. It would have been fun chatting with him as well. But yeah, no, I just want to say thanks RaceFace, thanks all the sponsors. Always nice to drive against these guys. The driving standards is once again top quality. I don't think I've ever seen it this good like it is at the moment. So yeah, now I'm just enjoying it. And yeah, watch out for the Mustang. I'm getting used to it now.
There we go. The Galloping Stallion is coming. So we're going to leave you be and to try and figure out your sea legs, because I'm sure they are properly sea legs trying to climb out of your rig after that one. But Vernus, come on, well done on scoring 5th place and getting the pass eventually done on Mahiath Musa after an hour worth of racing.
Thanks, Stephen. Cheers.
Cheers. All right, next driver we're going to bring in is Bago Krobler. Bago Krobler, welcome to the commentary box. 3rd place on the cards for you, and what a race it was. A little bit of a lonely one. Not much happening ahead of you, not much behind you, but consistency was key as always. How are you feeling after that one?
Yeah, but as you say, a bit of a lonely race. One of those not great, not terrible races. I think first stint I let myself down a bit, and then second stint was a lot better, and I was actually closing the gap back up to Balkozen, but too little too late, unfortunately. But P3, so happy with that.
Well, it does bring you up in the points a little bit, and compared to round 1 where you were a little bit down on the fight, this is now going to move you up from 5th. You're now getting points ahead of Fleming Bauer. That puts you into 4th place, staring at 3rd. With 2 more rounds to go, are you feeling confident? Are you feeling confident in the car? Or is there still that little bit of a gremlin on the shoulder saying, what if something may happen?
Yeah, I think from here, 2 races to go, I probably need a bit of luck to make it into the top 2, but at least I'm close enough in the points now for being able to capitalize on if that opportunity does present itself. So we'll see what happens. I know Kyalami, I think, is one of the races we still have to do, and the Porsche is good there, so hopefully I can score a few more points than the guys ahead of me there, and then we'll see how it goes, I guess.
Oh, absolutely tremendous stuff. Well, Jan Bago Krobler of Hybrid Racing, anything you'd like to say to the petrol heads, to the sponsors, to all the teams and the drivers watching now and in the future, going and listening with bated breath? And you're able to add a bit of spice if you would like. Just keep it PG.
No, just thanks to everybody that was racing tonight. Thanks for a nice, clean race. Thanks to the organizers as well for organizing this whole SRO thing and giving us the opportunity. And thanks obviously to the sponsors that make it worth our while.
Absolutely tremendous stuff. Well, Bago, thank you very, very much for joining us. We look forward to seeing what you can do come round 3 next week.
Thanks. Cheers.
Well, absolutely tremendous stuff there. Our last interview of the night is going to go to Paul Fenter. And we're going to be pulling him in for a bit of a chat. Paul the Wall Fenter, the Eleanor Chaos driver, where the team is stable, but the drivers are completely unstable. Paul, what a race on your side. You've had a little bit of lonely moments, but then some really good racing out there. The Aston Martin looking like it had some legs.
Yeah, I must say, quite surprised. I rocked up 5 minutes before the server went live, and I went like, oh, let me see if I've got a setup, and I went racing. So, freaking surprised with that result. That was fun, and Gary, I think it's Gary or G van Sale.
Yeah, it was Gary van Sale.
Kept me freaking busy wherever he was close by, and had me sweating there in the last 10 minutes to make sure he doesn't get close enough to be able to pull a Andre and put a dive bomb on me, So yeah, no, it was lekker. Good racing for a change, And no drive-through.
Well, that's it. Didn't get a drive-through. Got an 8th place, though. Smiling on the face of that one. Serodio, unfortunately, getting a disqualification. That also just kind of gifted you a position. But take us through the start of the race. It was a bit chaotic. You were a little bit further down the order. And turn 1 was all about cars trying to go 3 wide. No actual bangs or smashes on the way through, which is not very usual for Silverstone.
Yeah, I kind of held my breath and closed one eye and just absolutely hoped for the best, and kept a tight-ish line through there, and just try to survive. And everyone I think everyone did the same thing, and we all survived reasonably, I think, until we got into the back straight, and then I saw there was a bit of chaos. But it was good fun. My teammate unfortunately had a bit of bad luck. Old Barry's. His car somehow stalled twice when trying to pull off. So he ended up falling to the back, then raced to the front, and as they like unghosted, he rammed a McLaren and then got a drive-through just for to add on top of insult. So yeah.
Just talking about all the shenanigans that go with that, and needing to put a little bit more gummy berry juice to get going. As you see one on screens where he was trying to get past one of the BMWs, having a bit of a contact on the entry, trying to go for the cutback. But Ron van der Walt kept him busy for a majority of the race. Well, that being said, halfway mark done and dusted. How are you feeling with the championship? Is the entire team a bit more confident? Is there a bit of excitement, considering we're getting closer and closer towards the end and looking to have two drivers representing the community going forward? 2 more races to make it all happen, and so much on the cards.
Yeah, look, our goal for this whole thing was just, try and get into the top 10 at the end. And half the races is kind of where I know I'm good at. The other half was like, yeah, we'll just try and survive. And Kyalami is one of those where I know the Aston is strong, and I am strong and rolling down the hill as well there down Mineshaft. But hopefully I can keep it together and do really well at Kyalami. So yeah, excited to get going again next week, and yeah, just try and kick some ass. Maybe beat some of those vape boys and have a giggle and a shot with them for beating them.
Well, that's it. Well, Paul of Logistical Nightmare Racing, before I let you go, is there anything you would like to say to all our petrol heads, all our sponsors, all the families, teams, and drivers watching now and in the future that's supporting on and keeping an eye very, very closely to this championship? The floor is yours.
Awesome. Well, yeah, everyone here, if you're watching this, you should be joining us, racing with us, and having a great time. If you like good, clean racing, well, RaceFace is always the place to be. And if you want entertainment, RaceFace is the place to be. And, as always, thank to Bertus, Hansi, and all of their sponsors that they somehow bribe to put money up or put some prizes up for us. Thanks for that. And, yeah, be exciting to see who will represent RaceFace in the SRO, always proud moments for stuff like that. So, yeah, absolutely. Let's go racing.
Oh, there we go. Paul the Wolf Enter going and getting it done and dusted. Thank you, Paul. Always an honor chatting to you and the whole Logistical Nightmare Racing. Go and enjoy. I'm sure Ryan's going to need some gummy berry juice after his race.
Like it, Steven. Thanks, man. Cheers, boys.
Cheerio. Always great to see it. But you've been hearing it. You've been hearing what's to come. Well, coming up next week, we're heading out to Kyalami, and we're going to be having a huge amount of fun. A track that everyone knows all too well here in South Africa. And it is going to be a wicked and wild one, being round 3 of the championship, being part of the end, which is going to be absolutely close. We're going to be keeping an eye on the championship, keeping a very close eye on it, because now we've got an entirely different ball game that is going to be kicking up and seeing who's going to represent. Remember, now that round 2 is done and dusted, round 3 is at Kyalami, and there's so much to go for. Take a look out on SimGrid for the RaceFace.Pro. Plenty of racing here to come and ready to have a bit of fun. Whether you enjoy iRacing, whether you enjoy a set of course competizione, we got it here on RaceFace.Pro, and you get to also see all the standings as it comes out. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, it has been an absolute honor to go and commentate with you guys, to be on air with every single one of you. Please make sure that you hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notification icon, leave a like as well, and go and take a look at our sponsors. A big shout out to SA Lube, big shout out to Scallywags, Red Star Raceway, Ondorf Machinery Mart. Thank you for being with us on this great triumph and this great mission to go and put sim racing out on the map. And we look forward to seeing how it's all going to turn out in the future. Lots more to come. And keep an eye out on all the social medias as well, on our sponsors and here at RaceFace.Pro, as we'll be bringing all the information, all the news out to you guys as soon as it drops. That being said, though, from myself here in the THT Productions office, I'm going to say a good morning, good afternoon, a good evening, and good night, everybody.